make an impression I was never heard.
Your impression of me was never heard. I'm pretty sure that
I think artificial intelligence kicked that in.
I'm pretty sure God didn't want you,
Broadcasting that.
blasting on me while I was live. Hello, backseaters. Welcome back. It's Monday. What is it? May 20th. I had to write a letter today. I think it was the 20th. And you are with Under Sheriff Mike Martin and Director Steve Leiden. We are patrolling the mean streets of St. Paul. Well, they're not that mean, but
A little bit this morning, but it's been mellowed out a little bit.
yeah. But we'll there's stuff going on. We are waiting to find a couple cars that fled earlier today. So we are on Rice Street at Maryland. You are in Ramsey County in the state of Minnesota. Again, I'm Under Sheriff Mike Martin, and I'm with Director Steve Leiden. And we are live on patrol out here. Sorry I missed you last Monday. I was at the Midwest Gang Investigators Association National Conference in Green Bay, Wisconsin. About 350 gang investigators from across the Midwest and a few from Arizona, California, the East Coast, Canada, all together to talk about what's going on with gangs, how we best address them, what are the emerging trends and threats, and how do we do all that while staying safe.
Did you start MGIA?
No. I joined MGIA right after they started, but I wasn't part of the original. But this was my 30th year of being involved with MGIA. The first year was in 1994. And Mike Shobin was the Minnesota chapter president at that time.
Well, that's bringing back a name from the past.
Yeah. And he has long since retired. And he recruited me to be a member. But I've been probably at least 15 years I've been the president of the Minnesota chapter. So apparently they're having a hard time finding someone better to replace me with. And it's not a very high bar.
Stability is important. I think they recognize that, Michael.
So we are on Maryland. We're going into the east side. Maybe we should head over west. I don't know. We'll spend a little time here, but it seems like some of the action this morning was over west. So I was at the conference last week, so I couldn't go live. Well, I could have, but it would have been. I didn't know if I would have strong enough Wi-Fi to live stream. Our conference was in Lambeau Field.
Really?
Yeah, inside they built a beautiful conference center in there.
I heard the Twin Stadium has the same thing.
Really?
Yeah.
I should check it out.
Everybody's going to the right lane.
Oh no, someone must have broken down.
Oh, you got an accident? Get them into the parking lot. Are they movable?
Little folks. That one does not look movable. Let me see if a St. Paul squad is on the way here. They are, so.
Okay, yeah, this one's not going anywhere.
So, no.
Nobody seems hurt.
Everybody seems okay, maybe a little frustrated.
Those plastic cars fall apart pretty easy in a little bump now.
Yeah.
Not able to break 1571 Maryland for an assault. Caller stated she was in a physical altercation with hit in the eye. Heard male screaming at female in the background. Showing within 8 meters.
Go down here and check on a property where we recovered a stolen. Looking kind of quiet there.
Yeah. It was quiet that night. Until we got there. Now, I am not a basketball fan. I don't follow basketball. I don't play basketball. I don't really know the rules that well. But you do get caught up in the championship playoff series.
Oh, yeah.
And did the Timberwolves pull it off last night? I didn't track.
Oh, did they ever? They were down by 20-something.
Are you kidding me? And they came back?
Came back.
Wow.
And won. And it was tight.
Copy 1301, you can stick there.
I may be slightly biased, but we were playing the Nuggets and the referees last night. We were not getting many calls. So, but Timberwolves stepped up. They didn't quit.
Calling AAA, he wants to wait. We'll get the other one on the line.
They kept their heads up, and
I just heard St. Paul on the radio that one of those two in the accident wants their own tow.
They don't like our tolls.
I guess not.
Uh-huh.
If he wants AAA, he probably has a membership and it's going to be free.
That's true.
Versus the
But how
300.
long will it be?
So you remember Mickey Mantle?
Of course.
Because we're old.
Well, I don't remember him playing.
Okay.
I know who he is.
So Mickey Mantle, of course, was one of the greatest all-time baseball players in the Major League Baseball. And he was telling a story in an interview I saw where he apparently would always brag about he was the best in Oklahoma. So if somebody would talk about wrestling, he said, yeah, I was the state champion of wrestling in Oklahoma. If they talk about football, I was on the state champion team in Oklahoma. He said, whatever it was, if it was eating hot dogs, I was the Oklahoma state champion in eating hot dogs. And he said, so I wish I could remember the other player's name, but they're at this guy's house, they're having a barbecue, he's got a pool, and he said this is one of the most gifted athletes he'd ever played with. He could play football, basketball, baseball, and swimming. And he had championships in almost all of the sports. And somebody said, gee, you got a nice pool. He says, yeah, it's a lap pool. I was state championship in swimming, and swimming really helps keep me in shape. And of course, Mickey Mantle says, oh, I was the Oklahoma state championship in swimming. So he challenges him to a race. And Mickey tells one of the catchers, grab that pole over there, and as soon as we jump in the water, hand it to me, and you guys run me down to the other end of the pool so I can beat this guy. And they did that, and he said he's literally sitting on the edge of the pool when this other guy finishes, and he's shocked because he knows he's a better swimmer. He can't believe, Mickey, how'd you get here? But he said his arm was all scraped up because they kept hitting him on the side of the pool. So he figured it out.
Oh, that's funny.
You got to have humor, right?
Yeah.
And humor is important. If you're a victim, you want to be able to look, and humor helps you get through a lot of tragedy in life. I know a lot of cops, we call it cop humor, to get through some of the most horrible things we deal with. We try to break up that tension.
Yeah, it's you definitely have to find a way to not take stuff too seriously and to dissociate from some of the stuff you see. I had a really good conversation with someone over the weekend about that, about how, you know, you don't know sometimes why it affects different people differently, but you know, some people are very much traumatized by some of the stuff they see, and others see it and they're not that traumatized.
Yeah, it's interesting. I dated a gal a little while ago. You know, when we got to talking, and she was like, "Oh, I can't believe you're a policeman. I can't believe you deal with, you know, violent people and crimes and victims." And I said, "Well, you're a nurse." She goes, "Yeah." I said, "What kind of nursing do you do?" She was a what do you call that, end of the life treatment?
Hospice.
She's a hospice nurse for children.
Oh, jeez.
And I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe you can do that kind of work.
Yeah, I'd
Oh.
rather see 10 dead bodies than
Watch a child die. Yeah, that's just
probably
so nasty.
100. So, yeah, that's horrible.
375 as well.
All right, we're gonna head west.
All right.
Can you put me on assist?
Nice weather today.
Yeah, it is.
Copy, St. Anthony and Hamlet.
That must have ended up being nothing over in Minneapolis.
Yeah, it pretty much died out.
But we know a couple of our stolens went over that way.
I can get another.
And eventually they'll find them.
Yeah.
Maybe chase them back this way.
Wait for Sunday, PD.
We're on East 7th right now, headed toward downtown. But I think maybe we should pop up to University and then go west. Otherwise we end up in traffic.
Avenue Southwest and 3rd Street Southwest. Copy.
So it was a busy weekend in Minneapolis and St. Paul. There was the murder on the light rail platform.
Yeah.
And they're looking for those suspects. And Minneapolis had a couple homicides.
375 now northbound, Parkway on.
Legislature ended last night, right? 12:01 in the morning.
I think so. Did they get anything done?
The location of your
You know, it depends on what side you talk to. One side talks about what they did, the other side talks about what they said. But I think for the most part, I don't think they got the budget, the bonding bill done.
Probation 9
Oh, okay. Well, that's the big thing they're supposed to get done, but they're too busy
Copy, 1549.
talking about all kinds of other stuff. But we're not supposed to really get into politics here, right? So we'll just say that both sides continued their record of not getting anything done.
So, okay.
Nothing that would help us all.
It's kind of like sports. We're rebuilding. Next year, we're going to have the championship.
2263.
Okay. Yeah.
And maybe the Wolves will pull it off this year, and this will be the year.
Gotta see who keeps texting me here.
Right, northbound right.
I'm sure it's extremely important.
5050.
5186.
5186.
And clear with staff. You can clear
So-
381. Put us all out on another one. We have one on the danger.
It's a guy that I talked to over the weekend. It just so happened that
Yep.
a mutual friend of ours called me, and this guy had a drunk driver crash through his mailbox and his yard and his neighbor's mailbox and yard, and then the car got bogged down as it was trying to flee, and the guy got out and ran on foot, and the officers came to the area
2261.
and left
2261.
the area.
I'll start towards that accident.
I'm sorry, the officers came to the area, checked the area. Meanwhile, there were some county squads that were doing something else.
Copy.
And it sounds like they may have detained and ID'd the suspect
Yeah.
unwittingly and
Oh.
released them.
I already put myself on.
And this guy was just looking for a little
Okay.
clarity in the follow-up of what occurred.
Yeah, when
I'm
things
making that
when things are that fluid, it's hard to respond, deal with it, and try to communicate at the same time. And then when you're talking different agencies, they're on different radio frequencies, and it takes a while for dispatch to get the word over.
Well, and the guy fled from, it occurred on the border of Roseville and Maplewood. In Roseville.
Yeah.
And the guy fled across Rice into Maplewood, but our deputies happened to be in the area for something unrelated. And so I have a call into Roseville to follow up and see what we can do. But it sounds like it was one of those kind of confusing details. And the officers either maybe didn't get all the info they needed or didn't understand, didn't put all the pieces together.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way. And, so we'll get the pieces put together and take care of these folks.
Roseville Swamp Star, 2045 Rice Street. Assisting that excellent with a bleeding catheter.
Bleeding catheter. Icky.
What's that?
They just called in for Roseville squads to assist medics with one that has a bleeding catheter.
Oh.
Here's my question. All right.
How are they gonna
If I
assist?
ever have a bleeding catheter,
Yeah.
I don't need the cops.
Yeah.
I need the medics.
And quick.
Especially not me, because I'm gonna be like, ooh, ew, icky. Well, the medics will be here soon, and try to help them stop the bleeding. But that's one of the things. Like in St. Paul, you get the St. Paul medics will show up.
Yeah.
And they're paramedics, they're fire paramedics, so you get the response is pretty quick.
And they're highly trained. They're direct communication with an emergency room certified doctor. Boy, you couldn't ask for better care. I've worked with those guys and I don't know how many calls.
Oh yeah,
Top of the line. They really
I've
are.
seen them save more lives than anybody. Of course, you want the paramedics and the advanced life support ambulance.
You know, Dino
but-
Guerin, retired deputy fire chief from St. Paul, is the emergency manager for the sheriff's office, and nobody speaks higher of the high quality training and the expertise of the St. Paul fire medics. And he has firsthand experience working with them, managing them.
There's people doing a fire drill here.
It's looking confusing, like
Well, they're gonna push the van around the corner there, but it looks like they got enough horsepower.
that is a true green vehicle.
Yeah.
No electric, no gas, no fumes, just a little sweat.
The 67-year-old male that passed out.
It's always nice to hear the drug dealers whistling when the police drive by. That's the sign of a vibrant neighborhood.
Thriving community. Still moving forward. We got the big weekend coming up, the beginning of summer, Memorial Weekend, honoring all the soldiers that have fought for this country to provide your right to prosper, freedom. You want to protest? That's because the soldiers fought and died to keep people like Nazi Germany, the Japan invaders back in the 40s. That would have taken away all those rights, wouldn't allow people to express how they feel or what they feel. So it's important to remember the sacrifices people have made to ensure that we are the greatest country that have ever been. We aren't perfect,
Right.
but we're greater than any other country. That's why people are trying so hard to get here.
Yeah.
And even people who say, oh, if this happens, that happens, I'm leaving the country. Why they really don't leave? Because even if it happens, they still know this is the greatest country. We just have to work together to make it better.
Copy.
Yeah,
But-
and to learn from our past mistakes.
Yeah.
And you know, make sure that the young people now have the same opportunities or more than we had. And I'm confident that's true. And I'm worried that sometimes we get complacent and take our rights for granted, and or people say, hey, well, I have a right to do this. No, you don't. You have rights, but damaging property isn't one of them. Trespassing on other people's property isn't one of them. You know, there's limits on your rights and responsibilities.
Yeah, people confuse privilege with right.
Yeah.
It's like driving. Having a driver's license and driving in the state of Minnesota is a privilege. You don't have a right to a driver's license or the ability to drive.
No.
1558.
Oh, there's an ambulance
189
coming
Tango.
behind us.
Behind us?
And request assist for a DK party at 800 Cretan Avenue South. This is a unconscious, intoxicated male laying in the driveway. Medics are en route. Copy, 1558.
So,
Copy, 164, you can take it.
so folks, although it's a very busy intersection and there were a lot of cars, the beauty is 90% of the people were smart enough to know to pull over to the right. There was that 1%er, 10%er that sat in the way of the ambulance. But you gotta pull over to the right, get out of the way. So I'm not hearing much from the boys on our channel.
No, it's
2266. 2266.
I think
Ambulance 15 for shoulder strain. Minor injury to the mouth.
So we are westbound on University Avenue at Hamlin.
2266.
I kind of miss the BP here.
yeah.
I mean,
The topography and the buildings changed drastically in the 65 years I've been
Probation
around.
958.
Monkey Ward's used to be here. Big warehouse and
Probation
BP
958.
gas station, right, is now a field.
732 Holly Avenue.
Copy, 732 Holly.
I see we got Rick listening in Seattle. We got people all over the country and the world, I'm told, listening to some of the things you say, Mike.
5674 Clearport.
those poor people.
Come summer comes the motorcycles.
Oh yeah, and the motorcycle accidents.
Yeah, those are gruesome.
Yeah, be
I used to-
careful when
Party
you're out
Tango,
there.
245.
I used to ride. I used to have a motorcycle, but the texting pretty much ended it. Texting and driving, you cannot do both.
724 Bellevue Street for a PIC. 14-year-old child having a breakdown, acting violent and hitting the caller. It's also suicidal.
I hate to hear those calls.
Yeah, it's sad when you hear a teenage kid who's
You know,
having a mental health crisis, and the parents, I'm
523,
sure,
531.
frustrated, don't know what to do. There's not a good solution.
That's the problem. The
523.
way you deal with mentally
Eastbound
ill
94 at
people
Robert,
and mentally
states
ill
out with
folks
a domestic requesting assistance.
is completely different than how you deal with a rational person.
523, copy on the code 4.
Right.
One copy on the Russell Skyways.
So I saw the Walmart that closed in Midway is now called the At Home store. I never heard of that before. Have you heard of At Home?
I've seen another one. I think there's one up in Roseville, but never been in there. I think you should go in there and then report back.
5284 and 186 red.
Let's see.
That'll be on my top list of priorities. To go into the At Home store.
3467 clear traffic.
And bicycles, not only motorcycles but bicycles. There are very few bicycles in the city of St. Paul, but every now and then I'll see a bike rider.
You don't want to go drive through the University of Minnesota.
This is in front of.
Yeah, you gotta exit out here. So.
Similar to Bed Bath and Beyond, according to Mary. Thanks, Mary.
I think I have been in one of those.
The Bed Bath and Beyond or the At Home?
Bed Bath.
And David says good night from Germany.
Germany. It's
Yeah,
already night. No wonder we should take a nap.
1740 Rice. Male sitting in the middle of the parking lot.
There's a lot going on out here.
Right
I thought
happening.
maybe the cat team might stir up some business over here.
I'm pulling up right now.
I'm gonna go south here on Pryor.
Copy 64.
Ooh, Menards has a fence now. Keep those shoplifters from running this way.
That could be it.
Try to.
I tried to jump in front of the light rail and get hit. I saw a car get hit here one day by the light rail.
Really?
Yeah.
You know who wins that every time?
The train.
The train.
Every time.
Every time.
That train just clipped the rear corner of the bumper
All back 445.
and sent that, it was a truck, and sent it into a 360-degree spin. It did a 1.5 spins before it stopped.
Wow.
And the train just kept right on going with as if nothing happened. I don't even know if the train realized it hit the truck. But that engineer was sure on his horn.
444.
Yeah, some of these are a little confusing.
1605.
Where it crosses intersections, like down by Rice.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And if you were drunk, or say under the influence of
Or even just distracted.
drugs or distracted, you could easily drive onto the tracks.
But
You had 2 lines wait for me.
Yeah.
John, Charlie, John.
That Rice Street turn on University
Jane, Charlie, William, 190.
is really confusing.
It is. Yeah, it's bad.
I think the intern in the engineer department designed that one afternoon.
So in Green Bay, one of the presenters was
25 signal.
a retired Mesa, Arizona
You had a secondary
police
location for
officer
call 942 Cleveland Avenue South in relation.
Copy 942.
worked hate crimes, neo-Nazi, white
Our
supremacist
complainant
groups,
is very uncooperative.
all that.
We'll be
But now
transporting
he
the male,
investigates
adult male,
and,
to 645 Charles Avenue.
Polygamists,
Huh.
and that are not all polygamists, but the ones that are involved in the sexual exploitation and assault of young girls, where they marry the girls at 10 years old, and
Yeah.
it's all incestuous, and he helps them escape from polygamy, it was very interesting. And he and his wife do the work together. They have a show on, and then they also brought with them a young lady who escaped from a polygamous group. It was fascinating.
She explained how she got trapped into it, and
Well, she was born into it.
Oh, okay.
So they're born,
So the
they'll
parents
have
are
like
buying into
100
it.
kids.
Oh my.
Yeah. And then, the cousins have to marry each other, and uncles marry their nieces. And anyway, it was just fascinating to hear them talk and to compare it to how gangs exploit people, particularly hate groups, and how they brainwash them into believing things.
Yeah.
So it was very interesting. So we are on Marshall. We are over close to the University of St. Thomas. Go Tommies. Or Roll Toms, I think it is. I should know. And we get a lot of bad guys who come over here across the river from Minneapolis and break into cars because they can shoot back across the bridge quickly.
We'll be out there. Female suspect in front of a couple foods.
And they think we won't follow them over into St. Paul or chase them into St. Paul, and I'm sorry, into Minneapolis, or chase them, and they're surprised when we do.
Hey, Commander, I'm just going to have to let that go. It's getting on at 94 right now.
I actually saw a message that when we arrested 3 or 4 juveniles that were in a stolen car. We'd arrested them multiple times in the last year, and we got them in custody. Minneapolis was fantastic working with us. We worked really well together, and as a team we were able to catch all 3 of them. And one of them had on his phone where he had received a text message from a friend, look out, cat teams over in Minneapolis. He called it the apps. And so they're surprised and don't realize that as licensed peace officers in the state of Minnesota on duty, we can travel anywhere in the state of Minnesota with our official capacity. And running from one city to another city doesn't get you away from being held accountable for your illegal and bad behavior when you're victimizing people. It just doesn't work that way.
Yeah, they don't get it.
It's not like the old movies where you run for the border and then the cops got to stop at the border and the bad guy gets away.
That would be horrible.
Yeah. The only running for the border should be for tacos.
Yeah, exactly. Taco Bell.
There you go. Quality dietitian approved food.
We by the way, I saw a comment about it asking to send 200 stars. You don't need to do that. That's some kind of online scam thing. So you don't need to send us any stars. You are a star. Just whatever you post is going to come up on the feed. However, if you send tacos, we'll make it higher on the feed.
About 200 tacos would do it.
200.
Then we could help all the backseaters we run into.
Yeah.
359 Tango is coming up with 8 on this DOT.
We're going to go eastbound here on Grand Avenue. Another place that the bad guys like to target because there are a lot of cars, a lot of people shopping. People leave stuff in their cars or leave their cars running.
And as you come up to this intersection of Cleveland, we're reminded that we're in the first season of Minnesota now. Construction.
Road construction.
Yeah.
I think there's two. There's winter and road construction. I didn't know there were other seasons.
Well, they tend to lay off the construction in that fall, winter, and spring they catch up with the potholes. I don't know if they have to wait for the weather to get to a certain temperature before fixing potholes will really work, or if they just fill them in knowing it's not going to last long.
If that's true, the temperature must be like 150 because they never.
There's our ambulance.
Yeah.
It's busy.
I've heard one gunshot, hearing yelling and screaming. Heard only.
2873 report with 920.
Where's that? Shots fired. Not seeing it on there. It was on
Copy,
channel 2.
copy.
There it is.
260 copy. We're going to start it.
Oh, it's on the west side.
Copy.
West side.
270 close circle.
Copy.
Up in front of Merwin.
240 Tango.
Let me go for Phoenix.
Close for medic. 1614.
Shot fired was down at the Wellstone
Oh,
Center, and I'm guessing you'd have more calls than that. Than one. If it was an actual shot fired. Sometimes things sound like a shot fired. So yes, the Timberwolves are moving on now to play Dallas in the conference finals.
is that 7 games also?
44 on code 4.
I think it is. You get 2.
Code 4.
We'll have 2 at home, then 2 away, then 2 more at home if needed, and then 1 away
Okay.
if needed. So
So I may be a person that will indulge in a cigar every now and then. And you go to my cigar lounge and I light up, and this time of year, it's like all the TVs are on basketball.
yeah,
But I do like watching the Twins. I wish they were back into their winning streak, but that 12 games was a lot of fun.
yeah, they're struggling right now. But I guess it's early in the season, but you need to build up those wins.
Probation 958.
Yeah.
Probation 958.
I used to hear probation's out
Clear
doing their checks.
732 Holly.
Yeah.
Copy.
I don't think they go out like they used to. I mean, he does.
Yeah.
He's out all the time, but it used to be like all the probation officers would go out.
Yeah, now it's pretty much, unfortunately, because of the numbers, at least that's what I hear, is your average PO has meetings in the office and the clients come to them, and I know sometimes I've called and where does he work, or is he living someplace? Well, this is where he told me he works.
Right.
I go there and, and they called and verified it at the time, but then I go there 2 months later and the guy hasn't worked there for a month. But if you're on intensive supervised release, ISR, an ISR agent has limited clients on his,
4444, I'll be clear report.
and he will, oh, I don't know who that is. If they're not in my directory, it goes to voicemail. Determine if I need to talk to them later. Anyhow, an ISR agent has a smaller caseload, and they come out in the night, they come out early morning, during the day, they check where you're living, they check where you're working repeatedly, they might do a drug test. They're on top of it, because the guys with an ISR agent are more at risk to reoffend. Either they didn't do the right treatment, whether in facilities, or the behavior didn't show that being in prison changed their behavior, and there's concerns for the safety of citizens. So community corrections, it's mandatory release, so community corrections works hard on it.
Yeah.
They got a tough job.
Oh, it's definitely a tough job. Yeah, they got a great deal of respect for the probation officers that work hard and do a good job of supervising their clients. Because it's not easy,
No, it's a thankless job. It's one of those jobs behind the scenes, right? It's like our intelligence people. They work really hard. They figure out who's doing what, where they are, who's most likely in this area, and then we send the street cops out to respond to that, and everybody sees, oh, look at the street cop got him. Well, he got him because he worked as a partner with Intel.
Yeah.
But, so probation works extremely hard in very difficult situations, and it's behind the scenes, you don't see it, but it's critical to the justice system to work properly. Grand Avenue.
It's a nice area here. Like any area, it's had its challenges, but
You used to do a little work on Grand Avenue at night, didn't you?
yeah, at Billy's here. Still swing by there every once in a while, but it just didn't fit into our
Security protocol?
anymore. So I haven't touched base with them in a long time, but they still seem to be very busy.
No music going on there on the
Yeah, where are we, New
corner?
Orleans?
Victoria Grand?
Kind of look like Mayor Carter.
What's that?
He kind of looked like Mayor Carter.
I'll be on the board longer.
You know, he's wearing a suit.
2100, and
Yeah.
pick me up.
All dressed up
And
and blowing his own horn. That's a joke, folks. That's a joke.
That was a good one, though.
Well, what politician doesn't blow their own horn, right?
You have to.
Yeah, that's their
Right.
job. You got to sell themselves to the population
Yeah.
so that they understand that these are the things I'm going to implement, and I'm responsible for how it's going. But you have to know I'm the guy. And
Unless
so
it
they're out there
doesn't go
talking.
well, then you blame somebody else.
well, yeah, there is that.
Well, I meant to reduce crime, but I can't because those other people won't let me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Here's what kills me
Three at
is
one, copy to the stuff.
everybody has a piece of the right idea of what needs to be done. Prevention, intervention, suppression. But nobody wants to do it all. And nobody says, hey, why don't we do all three in the right proportions to be effective? Everybody treats it as it's a zero-sum game, and you can only do one.
Yeah, it's very
We'll
frustrating.
lock them all up. No, we'll let's work with the kids and try to prevent them. Okay, well, what about the ones that are already doing it? You got to do a little bit of everything.
Here's the thing. It's not rocket scientists. There has been different things done, applied in circumstances that have shown they work and others that don't. And yet you still come up with we know it works. We've proven it. And yet you get these people that come up with, I think I'm smarter than anyone else in the world has ever. I've got this new plan, and this is how we're going to do it. And crime goes up, and then, well, it was the pandemic. Well, it was this. No. It was the fact you weren't holding people accountable for their behavior, and you weren't giving the resources to the ones that needed it the most.
Right.
And it's almost negligent in how some of
Here's what I've found. All right, if you ever see the Mystery Science Theater 3000,
yes,
remember how they'd have little boxes that popped up, or they'd make comments about the movies.
yep,
Or there was an MTV thing where little boxes would pop up. If little boxes could pop up and tell the truth, it's if you just give me all the money and I will hire my friends, and my friends and supporters will save the day. And then 2 years later, it's where'd all that money go? And why didn't it work? And why are we still having the same problems? Well, I know we didn't give them enough money.
So
give them more.
If we just double down on what didn't work, it's and I'll be honest, the police have been guilty of this at times. I've seen a lot of money wasted by idiotic police leaders
yeah.
who
I've got the new thing to do.
Oh,
Give me this grant money.
Here's the new thing. I got research that says that if you paint your squad cars lime green, it'll reduce crime. And
All the squads get painted lime green.
and all the squads get painted lime green. And the guy that does the paint jobs is the mayor's brother. I'm not talking about Mayor Carter. Just
Yeah, hypothetically.
whoever the politician is in that city. So my dad passed away a while ago, but his dad owned the hardware store in the small town in Kansas where he grew up, and he relays he would tell us the story that a guy came in one day who was another guy in the small town and asked my grandpa, Walt, who are you voting for mayor? My grandpa said, I'm voting for the incumbent. And the guy said, why are you voting for the incumbent? He said, I always do. We already paved the road past his place.
No one in the area heard anything. 1327.
So, it's...
Yeah. Maybe the money now can go to something better.
Yeah, exactly. So, we're back in Frogtown.
Coming up on Dale and Thomas.
Tomas.
53, you can send me the medical.
Right by St. Agnes. was just like signaling high to us. But
Back him up.
we're gonna back him up, make sure he's safe. I think it was a him.
Come on,
277 Kenny H Hotel, last on the theft report.
My God, copy.
All right.
Let's take one back to the address.
Copy, Long Lake Road, Kenny H Hotel. Roosevelt squad to start 1739 Lexington Avenue North at DeVita assisting matters with 57-year-old female, low blood pressure. 5281, remember. Copy.
Copy, is there a spot to go with you?
One of St. Paul's finest.
Yeah, Sergeant, good guy.
Just a regular old traffic stop and
Keeping people safe. You know, there's just an article in the paper about the high amount of fatalities on our roadways.
Outside, sitting in front of the address.
And it's pretty much attributed to speeding. You know, I'm normally plainclothes and drive an unmarked vehicle. And I normally won't do traffic. But when I see such egregious driving that is endangering the other vehicles around 80 miles an hour when other cars are doing 65, weaving in and out of cars, or driving right on the bumper of the car in front of them at 70 miles an hour, I'm going to pull that vehicle over and we're going to have a discussion. I first want to make sure that they have the cognitive ability to understand the danger that's going on. The second thing is I want to make sure they understand the law and what is safe and what. The best example is the guy who throws his blinker on because he realized, oh, I'm in the wrong lane. Silly me. I need to be in this lane. I'm going to put my blinker on and just shoot over there.
yeah.
And it's basically they use the blinker as get out of my way. I was too dumb to be in the right lane, so now I'm going to correct my mistake by ramming into you unless you brake and let me in. Rather than the blinker is to indicate what your intention is when it's safe and legal to make the move. And it's just driving has not improved back to the level it was before the pandemic. I don't know why people drive crazy, but we need to slow down, stay within the speed limit, and it's real simple. Be polite. If you're respectful of the other drivers, you're probably going to be within the legal limits of the law.
So it's the golden rule.
There it is. Treat others the way you want them to treat you.
Oh, I thought it was whoever has the gold makes the rules. Oh, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No, I
That's
know
in the
better.
legal field. The lawyers.
That's what I tell cops when they're seeking grants.
Yeah.
Remember the golden rule. Whoever gives you the gold makes the rules.
Yeah, that's
And,
true.
Probation 958.
Probation 978.
This guy has the best voice.
Clear
Yeah.
732 Holly.
I want to hear him someday just get on. Like, I don't want him to panic. I just want to hear him.
Supporting a client who walked
He
out of the
just
treatment center.
he seems like the kind of guy that he could be in the house and it's on fire and he goes, well, we need to step outside then.
I know.
So calm,
Yeah.
so collected.
This one, go ahead.
Sorry about that. You can,
I've been getting a lot of spam calls lately. Is that your fault?
You know, I've pretty much gone through them for the lot. They seem to hit, and then I delete them all, I block them all, and I'm good for about 3-4 months, and then they
Have
start
a good night.
all over again.
Yeah.
when I was really young, just married, I lived in these apartments when they were first built.
Really?
Rice married, yeah. I actually was the caretaker there for a couple of years.
Huh, that's a busy little...
Yeah.
No wonder your wife divorced you.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Well, there you go. Yeah, my 33, which is 1 year longer than I was married, and I have to be honest, it's the best 23 years of my life.
Oh, there you go. Wow.
Your subject is a 55-year-old male named John, 6 foot thin build, wearing an olive brown button-down
We are
shirt, blue
back
jeans, sitting on the
north
corner of Arlington and
on
Jackson.
Rice. I'm gonna kind of cruise by our favorite building here, 800 Rice.
Yeah, it's been.
Excuse me.
20% of the people, 10% of the people crimes.
Yeah.
You got to focus on the career criminal, target the career criminal, get him locked up, get him
What if it's a her?
prosecuted.
What if it's a her? You gotta
Same
be
thing.
gender inclusive.
But to be inclusive, the statistics show, unfortunately, us guys are the worst jerks in society than
We are.
women. But yeah, they're not to say that there aren't criminal females. They're just not the same number as the males.
Nah, we have a few.
Yep. Yeah, I see with the young juveniles that, we arrest over and over and over, and we see the same females again being arrested over and over. And so hopefully, when Ramsey County builds the new juvenile treatment facilities and get them up and get them running, that
The myth homes.
these young juveniles will get the placement they need, they'll get the treatment they need that they're not getting right now.
Right.
And we may not see this revolving door of arresting this. I didn't have 5 interactions with police before I turned 18. And the National Justice Department for Delinquency and Prevention of Child Delinquency says if a juvenile has 5 interactions in a stolen car, arrested for shoplifting 5 times, that is a red flag that individual needs to get an institution, work on their education, their mental health. So I'm really excited that Ramsey County has recognized the importance of having a facility again and are opening new facilities. It was a good trial and error to see if not doing those types of things and getting rid of Totem Town might work, but they recognized that was wrong, it didn't work, and now they're going to come up with even a better program that they're working on. I hat off to Sheriff Fletcher, John Troy, to get $15 million to get the groundwork going to put these new facilities in so we can actually provide the right resources and try to turn around this crime wave. Since a lot of the accountability measures were taken away around 2015 on juveniles, thinking it was better just to send them home and hope they behave.
195, you can stay
Yeah,
there.
I mean, again, it's the all or nothing approach.
Yeah,
That's,
you need
you
need
gotta
a bunch of
have
tools,
different. Yeah. You have to have different tools or resources for kids and adults that require different treatment interventions.
2365, 2364.
And their one thing isn't going to solve all the problems. You got to have a bunch of different
We're 16, Kenner at Frankie.
things.
Crime is a complex. The issues resulting in crime is complex. There's no simple answer for it. So you have to have that smorgasbord approach. And you should be leery of the guy that comes in to lecture judges and lecture prosecutors and lecture cops and say, oh, we figured out magically after all these thousands and tens of thousands of years of humans in crime, we finally figured it out. And all you have to do is the A will work on some, but not everybody.
Right.
And that's why you have to never eliminate an option and make sure, especially with children, you can turn a child around a lot easier with a lot less resources. Once they get into adulthood, they're pretty much going to have to age out or decide on their own to change. And I've been in the criminal justice system for 43 years now, and I've seen these cycles where juvenile crime rise in the late 80s, early 90s, and they found out 5 times or more institutionalized education, treatment, help them with chemical dependency, whatever it took, whatever the issue was. And then adults, pretty much, you create a conducive atmosphere for change, and if they decide to take advantage of it, they will. If they don't, they'll be back.
Right.
Great, no IC, we're Sergeant.
But by far, the majority of people are good, honest, law-abiding citizens that you run into. Otherwise, it'd be just crazy out here, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
You call Conference 7, please.
Well, and that's the thing is we want, the whole idea is to reduce crime and make neighborhoods safer. And, it's just the way it is.
So, I wonder how crime is up in Park Rapids. Cheryl just joined in and said hi. It's sometimes hard to watch the comments you guys make while we're also patrolling, looking for what's going on and seeing the area. But we do try to check it out.
We're going to go north on Jackson here when we get a chance.
Don Hager says his grandfather was a Minneapolis officer. Maybe that's when you were a Minneapolis officer.
Ooh. It's possible, but I don't remember any Hagers. Now, Dale Hager was the chief of White Bear Lake.
Ah.
I know, but I don't know any Minneapolis Hagers. If so, I'd have been a young whippersnapper.
Your rookie year, and then all of a sudden,
People are asking you when you're
going on here.
I didn't hear a call here or see one.
First buzz report. Can I get another one at the T, please?
4. "651 Eldridge Avenue, West, assisting matters with a 32-year-old male conscious breathing, coughing up blood."
Medics advice.
Yep. $81.95. Sending a call to your laptop.
$1,700 EOT, 240 Tango,
240 Tango.
243,
43.
245,
282 Tango.
282 Tango,
Clear GOA with 263 Tango, 278 Tango.
copy, continuing with EOT, squad 245, 246,
246.
248,
248.
249, 251,
251.
259,
And then.
522, 524.
BOT.
Copy, another response. Have a good night. 6246.
Your county squad just started your caller 4150 Lexington Avenue. On a missing person on Baker. School was on the cause.
There's some chickens up there. I got some deputies here that are going to transport this individual home. Yes, sir. 2 copy. On BWC. Nice.
2008, go ahead.
2007 on myself out at Arlington and Jackson with the PIC.
Copy.
Incident assigned.
444.
Your incident has been updated.
50 lady, 60 report.
Copy.
What do you know, Cisco?
Can you bring up to an AMA, please?
Copy. Reserve squad starts to a domestic at 1004 Central Avenue West. Caller's ex-girlfriend is at the address. The caller has an OFP against her. Say that there is a knife sitting in the passenger seat of the vehicle. Copy at 189 Tango.
What's the floor? Yeah, it's on it.
Copy. 369, I got to the accident, Fort William Johnson Parkway, should be right in.
Your incident has been updated.
Info for squads are out to the missing child. Subject is a Max, white male, born in 2015, roughly 5 feet, average to husky build, his shoulder length, very light blonde hair.
Your incident has been updated.
I'll be clear for it, and I'll take another one, please.
Northbound Lodge 96 on dangerous condition, booted.
All right, folks. So we are going to go off the air now because we have to give this vulnerable adult male a ride to his group home, and which is in another city, and just to protect his identity and his privacy, we're gonna go off the air. So thanks for watching us today. I apologize for the abruptness, but we got to make sure this guy is good. Thank you.